Awesome. So we'll start standing at the back of your mat.
Oh yeah.
And then take, like, how many of you, this is your first public yoga class since COVID? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Awesome. Great. And standing at the back of your mat, let's bring both hands to your heart. And here we are. And it's summer solstice today. And it feels like there's just like new beginnings all the time. Are you feeling that? I'm feeling like a beginner so many days. The universe is like, and how about this? And can you try this on? And can you try this on? And then can we back up? And can you try that on? And so there's like a really sweet humbleness in beginnings of a new season, a new awakening, the death of some part of you that's ready to die off and go away, the humble part of you that's like this aspen shoot kind of coming up from the ground. And what I want us to really be with this morning is just willingness, right? Willingness to feel, willingness to allow, and opening the possibility that sometimes in our minds, the willingness is to go to these places of where it's all going to go to shit. And this morning, can we let ourselves center and remind ourselves that what's also possible is something better than we ever imagined. Something bigger, something greater, something that's more true and more real for us that we can't see. And let's be open this morning for that possibility, that miracle to find each and every one of us. So from this place, take a few breaths while your feet are rooted. Let your breath start to move with a little more intention. And then use the superpower you have to set your intention, right? Whatever this next 75 minutes has to offer you, how will you use it for the best intention you have for you? Listen to the birds, they're singing you their intentions, the sun shining her intention. Feel that everyone here is connected to you in some way by the simplest fact that they've shown up to practice. Morning, Corey. Good. As you inhale, take your arms wide, reach up, look up, see the clouds, and then exhale and bow forward, Uttanasana. Good. Find a halfway lift. Take your hands to your shins, knees, or thighs. Bring your heart to the center of the circle, like we could all have a big, juicy heart meet up, and then bow down. Good. And then Tadasana, wide reach, lift high. Maybe look up. And then exhale, bow, and look down. Good. Halfway lift. Your heart lifts, your tailbone back, and bow forward. Good. One last time. Sweep wide, reach high, look up, and then exhale your hands to your heart. Good. The sound of Om. Breathe all the way into your body. Okay, I don't know what you felt, but in that Om, it's clear a lot of you have been locked in your house for a long time. Let's have a little bit more expansion. Take a full, let's like resonate through the park. Like the trees should be able to feel you. Take a big breath in. Be willing to let your voice be cast out for the world to hear. Good. Breathe up, breathe in, look up, Tadasana. Fold down, go down, Uttanasana, bow. Good. Walk forward to high plank. So we're going to do a bit of shoulder strengthening this morning. If that is your Achilles heel, you might be saying, God damn it, why are we doing that? Because that can happen. So you're going to work with yourself, right? You might drop to your knees at times. You're going to modify and take care of yourself. From here, would you reach your left arm forward to the center of the circle? And then notice if your hip lifted, can you keep your hips square? And this is about the point where you're like, I might throw my mat off and just practice on the grass. So you're going to choose. Good. Now slowly bring your hand to the mat and take the other side. Bring that arm forward. And again, notice for a lot of us, hips start to roll and shift. Can you keep both hips square to the mat? Both shoulders square to the mat. If you're Matt, definitely keep your shoulders square. Matt Heffernan, that's you I'm talking to. Good. High plank. Big breath in. Lower all the way to the grass. Good. Cobra pose is next. Lift up and bow down. Good. One more time. Lift up. One more time. Bow down. Last time, actually, cobra pose. Lift up. Pause at the top. Come to your fingertips. And on your fingertips, look around the circle first. Morning, Jen. And then slowly lower down. Good. Tabletop or high plank. Downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. The downward facing dog. I want you to know, I think there is at least 3 people outside Boulder city limits here this morning that are visiting. This is amazing. I think it's Boulderites actually who are less likely to leave Boulder than people coming in, but that's actually 4 people I'm counting. That's serious commitment. Good. Take a steady breath in and a steady breath out. Good. Take your right arm back towards your right hip and let it rest in space. But how steady and strong can you make your whole shape? And notice if you want to rotate your wrist or your shoulder, but let there be strength and freedom. Now, keeping that arm towards your right hip, slowly come to high plank and take that arm forward. I know it's not easy. And then do that again. Come back slowly to down dog, arm goes back. And then slowly to high plank, arm goes forward. Awesome. Some of you on your knees. Perfect. One last time, arm goes back towards your right hip. Great, Jackie. And then one last time, slowly, arm comes forward. Pause in high plank. Good. Pause in high plank, downward facing dog. Good. Walk your hands back to your feet. Take your feet a little wider and reach your hands to your opposite calves or ankles. Hands to opposite, and then reach them around through the back. Yep, perfect. And then you might find you want to bend a knee or sway a hip or something else, and you'll do that. Because when you find what it is you want to be doing, there's a willingness, right? We want to generate that willingness to do exactly what we're being called to do from that deepest place. Good. Softly interlace your fingers at either your low back or your neck. And with soft knees, melt forward. Bend your left knee and bend your right knee. Good. And then bringing your hands to the mat. Walk to high plank and press back to downward facing dog. And from downward dog, your left arm reaches back towards your left hip. And again, can you stay strong and centered and steady? Can you be willing to come to your knees but stay connected? Beautiful. High plank, that arm reaches forward. Hips stay square. I know it's not easy, no doubt. You're doing great. Back to down dog with that arm back. Slow and controlled, come forward. Beautiful. Great, Talia. And then last time, arm back, hips up. And then one last time, arm reaches forward. Good. Both hands down, pause in high plank. And then downward facing dog. And this time, walk your feet to the front of your mat, closer to the circle. Good. Lift up halfway and fold down. Good. From here, interlace your fingers at the base of your skull. And notice what can soften here. Can you ground into your mat, the grass, your feet, and drop in? Happy birthday, Gentry! Good, and then bring your hands to the mat. Lift up halfway, and then bow forward. Good chair pose. Chair pose, Utkatasana, the chair. And then maybe find someone's eyes, and without awkwardly like staring at them, you could just look at them and be like, hey, how's it going this morning? Or you could make faces and wave. And again, like the willingness starts in like as we're coming out into the world, like wherever you are in that, show up in that, right? Don't be like, like whatever you're at, be there. Show up in it. Awesome. Corners of your mouth go up a little. Good. One more breath in, and then fold down. Good. Halfway lift. High plank. Full breath in, lower halfway or all the way down, and then you'll take upward dog or cobra, and then downward facing dog. Put a full breath in, and a full breath out. And feel in this beginner's mind, maybe it's like your third yoga class, maybe it's your 3,000th yoga class, but it's the only time that you've been here with this group on summer solstice in 2020, so it is brand new. Good, walk your hands halfway back your mat. Take your right hand to your outer left leg. Yep, wrap it outside and around, and then look under your left elbow, armpit. I did say we were going to play Twister. I wanted to be good on my promise. I try to be really committed to that. Take your feet wider if you're finding yourself struggling to stay upright, unless you're ready for a twisted headstand. And then change sides. Right hand down, left arm reaches back. And you'll find you might want to shorten or lengthen where your arm is, or widen something. But to be willing is to make adjustments, right? I love to hold like my kids and my husband like, but you said, forgetting that like sometimes things change like all the time. Good, fold forward at the back of your mat. Good, Tadasana. Lift all the way up, find the clouds. Open arm twist to the right. Right arm back, left arm open. Good, lift up, reach up, and then twist to the other side. Good, back to center. And now the chair pose. And I noticed last week, the other thing that happened in COVID-19 was people lost their chair, maybe because they were sitting in it so much. So could you take your fingers down to the mat and then lift your arms up? This is the other chair. Some of you were like at bar stools the last 3 months. I'm like, what's going on here? This isn't working. Good. Now as you inhale, lift your heels, lift your fingers. As you exhale, squat nice and low. Yeah. And then lift up nice and high, slow and controlled. And then nice and low. Beautiful. One last time. Slowly rise, lift your heels, and then slowly lower to that squat. Good. Now take the squat all the way down. Walk your feet wider, hands to heart center, and take an actual squat. Good. Your left hand comes in the center. Take your right arm up, or maybe all the way around so you can relax the shoulder. And then notice if your left ear wants to drop. Yep, and you could look to the right or up to the sky. Your head and neck will just kind of tell you, let's do this. It will definitely tell you, let's not do this, so listen. And then change arms. Right arm down, left arm high. Good, both hands down, hips high. Halfway lift and fold forward. Good. Walk to high plank position, and then downward facing dog. Good. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Good. From downward facing dog, step your right foot to the center, to the front, and then take your right arm high for grounded twist. You could use your water bottle or coffee mug under your left hand. And then you might want some movement in your upper arm, but continue to let your hips draw towards the grass and your top shoulder draw on top of your bottom shoulder. Great, Alex. Good. Now you're going to squeeze your inner thighs, find your feet, and come to stand in the same position to a standing open twist. Left arm to the center of the circle, right arm back. And if you're still getting your lefts and rights because it's morning, don't rush it. There's no hurry. We'll get to both sides. Good. Now, can you reach and spread your fingers? Take your heart a little higher as you relax your shoulders. Great, Jackie. And then warrior two. Sweep around. Warrior two. Good. As you inhale, straighten your front leg. Let your palms meet overhead. You could look up. And then come back to warrior two. 2 more times. Rise up and lower down. 1 more time. Rise. 1 more time. Lower. Good. Take your front palm, turn it to the sky, and lift up. Reverse warrior. Experiment with where your head and neck are happiest. How deep of a bend your front knee wants. But then mostly just check in with the willingness between your ears, right? Are you running a narrative? Are you somewhere else? Oh, we're going to get accompanied by our doggy. Hi, puppy. Hi. And then extended side angle. They do not know what to make of you guys. He's like, what the what? These guys aren't usually on my walk.
You're nuts.
Now, same thing again. Notice your head and neck. Notice your front knee. Do you want more or less? That's going to help you stay willing, right? If you want more or less, then you're really responding to yourself in all the right ways. Good. Star pose. Star pose. Everybody wave to Marina. Hi, Marina. Hi, Marina. Good. To the back of your mat, warrior one. So outside the circle, warrior one. Yeah, so your back foot's sort of at 1 o'clock. Your feet are nice and wide. Hi, Marina. Good. Separate your fingers. Notice if your arms want to be bent or straight. Good. And then airplane arms. Good. Now send your heart out into the trees, out into the woods, the barking dogs, the world around you. And let the back of your neck melt down towards your hips. Good, Michael. Standing staff is next. Arms rise, right knee lifts to the back of your mat. Flex your right toes. Press your left foot down as you reach through your fingers and you feel that willingness of your body. Yep, to wobble and adjust. Beautiful. And then hands to heart center, figure 4, right ankle over your left thigh. Good. Now straighten and bend the left leg a few times. Waking up your left hip. Finding your connection of your feet to the grass. Good. Standing staff, lift up, knee up, arms up. Step back to star pose. Star pose. Good. Pause here. Feet could be parallel or toes out, but let your fingers spread. And then can you send your heart a little higher? And like in this moment, in this shape, in this opening, where can you channel some willingness? Feel it, name it, allow it. Beautiful. To the front of your mat, low lunge. Step back and flow to downward dog, any way you'd like. Press your hands down, press your heels back, and free up your head and neck. So much we're all carrying around, and the place we get powerful is usually not from the neck up, but from the neck down. Good. Send your left foot forward, will you? Low lunge, and then send your left arm to the sky, no ceiling, the sky. And now again, notice if you want to like sway hips side to side, if you want to roll out your upper arm, like what works best for you. In this practice, today is actually International Yoga Day. And yoga in the simplest form means to connect to yourself. Root your feet, squeeze your inner thighs, and take that twist up to a standing. Left arm back, right arm to the center. Yeah, Yeah, and some of you might be happiest to have your arms long. Some of you might want a little bend to preserve your shoulders if you're working with an injury. And then fire up your back leg, even if it's bent. Beautiful. Warrior two. Warrior two. Take a moment to notice just your jaw and the muscles on your face. Is there any just sort of holding or masking or holding something up you could just relax around? Good. Front palm turns over, reverse warrior. Lift it to the clouds. Free up your neck and shoulders again. We want strength without holding our breath. And then extended side angle. Come to the front of center of the circle. Good. How long can you make your spine? And what's it like to have your shoulders move in the direction of stacking towards each other? And you can do that almost standing, and you can do that almost to the ground, but feel that opening here. Beautiful. Star pose, open wide, heart high. Check in with your intention you set. Keep giving it to yourself. Keep allowing. Beautiful. And then to the back of your mat, warrior one. Virabhadrasana 1. And listen. Airplane your arms back. And then if I'm going to be willing, the thing that I want to use the most is wise effort, right? I don't want to blow it all out in the first 20 minutes, but I don't want to save it for 3 weeks from now and miss being here now. So find that wise effort where your whole body, your whole mind is completely awake and maybe just a hair challenged. Good. Standing staff, your left knee and arms lift up overhead at the back of your mat. Pause in that standing staff. Feel your body adjust. Wake up your left foot, and then hands to heart center, ankle over your thigh. Figure 4. And again, first time through with your hands at your heart center, begin to straighten and bend your right leg a bit. And with so much uncertainty, we're being asked right in this moment, it feels like, to do 2 things. One of which is to listen really well. And the other is to adjust and pivot to the circumstances of the moment. So feel yourself being willing to listen and adjust. Good. Standing staff, arms lift, knee lifts. Step back to star pose. Feel that pause, heart high, eyes up, intention up, energy up. To the front of the circle, to the center of the circle, low lunge. Step back to high plank and flow to downward facing dog. And what's beautiful is if you could see everyone in our circle, everyone's doing it their way. Like, there's nothing I find less satisfying than going to a practice of anything and everyone's just a cookie cutter mirror image of each other, because then I know there's no authenticity there. But when you do it your way, you get to express where you are. Good. A full breath in, open mouth, sigh, and exhale. Good. Another big breath in. Through your nose, let it out. Good. Bring your feet forward. Halfway lift and bow down. Good. Tadasana, rise tall. Open twist, right arm back, left arm forward. Good. Ground through your feet. Lift up, look up, and twist to the other side. Good. Back to center, Tadasana, and now Utkatasana, the chair. And some of you are still in March, so take your fingers to your feet and then take your arms up. Beautiful. And now right arm back and both arms high. Awesome, Dave. Left arm back. Chair pose, both arms up. Airplane arms, send your arms back. Interlace your fingers, lift your chest, and now fold down over your legs. Stay here for a steady breath in and a steady exhale. One more time, big breath in. With soft knees, open your mouth and exhale. Good. Hands to your mat, lift up halfway, heart forward, spine long, and fold down. Step to high plank. Lower halfway or all the way. And then upward facing dog or cobra. And then downward facing dog. Together a breath in. And together a breath out. I have to say, teaching on Instagram was really fun these last few months, but nothing freaking beats this. I can actually feel you guys breathing. So do that again, will you, for me? Breathe in. Big open mouth exhale. Good. Last time, through your nose, inhale. Through your nose, exhale. Good. Right foot forward. Right arm high. Press to lift, standing twist. Warrior 2, circle around. Reverse warrior, reach high, look high. Extended side angle, come forward. You've got it. Star pose, heart lifts, eyes lift. Warrior 1 to the back of your mat or grass. Good. Airplane arms. And then standing staff, arms and right knee up. Hands to heart center, foot crosses, figure 4. Stay here for a steady breath in and a steadier breath out. Standing staff, arms and knee lift. Step back to star pose. Feel that pause. Feel your intention. Wait to be willing. And then when you're ready, to the center of the circle, low lunge, high plank, and flow any way you'd like to down dog. And so there's this willingness to listen, right? Like, I'm tired this morning. I'm going to skip chaturanga. I've got some energy to burn. I'm going to move towards chaturanga. I'm going to take all that out and do something different and take child's pose. But the willingness starts in connecting to yourself and knowing that even if everybody else is doing it differently, if it feels authentic and right, then it's right for you. Good. Left foot forward, low lunge. Left arm high. Oh, it's a worm. Standing, open arm twist. Great, Kate. Warrior 2. Reverse warrior. And extended side angle. Star pose, wave at the plane. Who's going to come in for a landing here, right overhead to your left. To the back of your mat, warrior 1. Airplane arms. Good. Standing staff, rise. Hands to heart, ankle over thigh, figure 4. Good. Pause, take a breath in. And pause, take a breath out. Standing staff, rise high. Step to star pose. Feel your heart lift, feel your intentions lift. To the front of the circle, the front of your mat. Low lunge, step to high plank. Pause in high plank. Come to your right side for side plank, Vashisthasana. So option to have your right knee on the mat, option for both feet to be forward. Good. Now take your top arm to the center of the circle, overhead to the front. Beautiful. Now slowly come to a high plank with that left arm reaching to the center of the circle, slower than you want. And then if you're willing, come back to side plank again. You could stagger your feet, lots of options. And then just one more time, coming to that high plank with your left arm to the center. Awesome, Jackie. And then one more time, come back to side plank. Good, high plank, hands down. Travel to downward facing dog. Good, good work. Good, Corey. And then send your left foot forward and your left arm high. And come to that standing open twist. And then warrior 2. Reverse warrior. Extended side angle. Good. Star pose. Press to lift. Maybe look up to the back of your mat. Warrior 1. Good. Airplane arms. Standing staff. Press to lift. Hands come to heart center. Ankle crosses over. Figure 4. Stay and breathe in. Be willing to soften and strengthen as you breathe out. Standing staff, rise up. Step to star pose. Pause and listen. To the front of your mat, low lunge. Step to high plank and pause. Side plank on your left this time. So you'll roll to your left hand. Either stack or stagger your feet on top or in front of each other, or take a knee down, take the right arm high, and then right arm could come to the center. Great. And then again, that option to roll to high plank and side plank just twice, slower than you want. How steady can you stay? Great, Jen. Good. We'll meet in high plank, traveling to downward facing dog. And maybe the biggest thing yoga is asking us is, can we have a willingness to allow ourselves to be without picking at ourselves, without judging, without blaming or shaming? Can your body be where it is? Can your mind be where it is? Can you have the feelings you have and let it all belong? Good. A big breath in, big breath out. Good. Adding on, take your right foot forward. Take your right arm high. Good. Option to just reach back here. Other option is to drop your left knee and squeeze your left heel in towards your hips or glute. You could take your foot, or you could just squeeze and reach. Both are great. Take your heart a little higher. Awesome. Good. Come back to the grounded twist with the right arm high, left knee lifted, and then standing twist. Good. We'll take exalted warrior from here. Take your right hand to your tailbone and send your left arm up into the clouds. Good. You'll notice that your eyes could go towards the right or up or down, but you'll find that place where your neck says, this is freedom for me, not stressful. Warrior 2. Good. Reverse warrior. An extended side angle, and pause here. In extended side angle, take your top arm and let it drop behind your back. You're welcome to use the energy to snake it all the way around. You're also welcome to just let it drop, to let that left shoulder drop down your back. Good. Now we're going to take this bound extended side angle into bound half moon. So with that wrap behind your back, you're going to pivot forward and start to tap into that bound half moon, and then you'll step back, and then you'll come forward. And what you're working is teaching your muscles and your mind to work together at your pace, in your way. And if you're willing to be curious, that place where you want to rush or avoid, can you pause there? While also just staying true to your body and where it is this morning. Great work. Great, Gruffy. Good, Paul. Beautiful. And as you're ready, you'll step to star pose. And this time, toes to the corners of your mat and hands come to heart center. Actually, let's take goalpost arms. I've got this arms. So first feel I've got this. I don't know what the hell I'm really doing or how it's going to go, but I'm still showing up, right? And then take your right knee to your right elbow. Yep. See, you got it. And then left knee to left elbow. And then we'll do that as gracefully as possible, which is really not that gracefully, but we don't really care. So like just walk back and forth, elbow to knee. Those of you in the shade, we want to make sure you get a just tiny bit of warmth. But be intentional, right? If you're just flailing through life, you're not really absorbing it. So be there. Awesome. Good. Then pause and I've got this arms because you had it. You just did it. Good. Star. Star. To the back of your mat, warrior 1. Airplane arms and full airplane, Dakasana. Bring the weight onto your left foot and let your right foot fly. Options to keep your hands here. Interlace them at your low back. Bring your hands to your chest or take warrior 3, arms reaching away from your back heel. And then begin to feel your right hip rolling a little up and a little down, and feel that you've got some connection to your body. You're not just a statue trying to get in some shape that's going to promise you something, but you're in this body that belongs to you. Beautiful. Standing staff, right knee and arms rise.
Take your, take your right arm under your left eagle arms and take your right leg over the top for eagle. Good. You can also take your hands to your shoulders if the wrap just feels like more than is pleasant. Now take your elbows up. As you exhale, bring your elbows to knees, squat a little bit lower. Awesome. Good, do that again. Lift up and lower down. One last time lifting. One last time lowering. Good, pause at the lower, contract. Option to drop the back knee and either take the foot or just reach for it, or even just option to take that left arm toward the back. And are you willing to take the option that works, or are you always trying to do more, or are you always avoiding? Not that I would know anything about that, but I heard people do that. You know that? And you just come up against your nature here, right? Like, oh, there I am doing that thing I do, like trying to keep up or trying to hope no one sees me, like, you know, taking water drinking pose, which I do in poses I don't like. Good, now grounded twist, left arm high, right knee lifts, and now that standing open arm twist. And if you take the rush out of it, it's going to be a more pleasant integration. Good, and then take your left hand this time to your tailbone or your back hamstring and take your right arm up. Yeah, notice where your shoulders and neck can feel more free. Let's keep working freedom and willingness to work with reality, even when it's not what we chose. Does that ever happen to you? Reality's not what you chose. You're like, I didn't actually sign up for this. And the universe is like, but you did. Damn it. Warrior 2. Good, reverse warrior. Extended side angle. Good, now take your top arm, drop it behind you. And it could be active or passive. It really doesn't matter, you choose. Now feel your feet and your pelvis. And if you didn't know that your feet and pelvis have a relationship, they actually do, they're quite connected. So feel that here. And then from that connection, bring yourself forward towards your left hand with a block or your water bottle or shoes or whatever, and find that bound half moon. And then you'll come back and forth. But notice again, if you're flailing about just to check the box, is that really satisfying for you? Maybe there's a place you want to hold. Maybe there's something you want to experiment with. Find that level of satisfaction. Good, Michael. And then star pose is next. And then toes out, and I've got this arms. In case you forgot, you've got this. Sometimes we forget, especially as we're flailing. Good, and then remember that one we did, right knee to right elbow? Let's do that again. It's kind of like hot yoga today, isn't it? You a little sweaty? Yeah. It's going to be slip and slide yoga at the end. We're going to run and slide on the 7 hands. Yeah, be intentional, be purposeful. What do you want to feel or notice? How do you want to experience your body here? How do you want to experience your state of mind? Good, and then star pose as you're ready. It appears all of you are ready. To the back of your mat, warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. This is like the annoying shit yoga teachers say, like, yeah, of course we're ready. We're so over that. Good, warrior 1, then airplane arms. And then how about full airplane here, Takasana? Come on to your right foot. Now it really matters not if your foot's an inch off the mat or 3 feet off the mat, but bring your whole self to it. So find your fingers want to be clasped behind you at your heart, reaching forward. Where's the place where there's possibility for you? And if you try it out and it doesn't work, are you willing to try something else? Standing staff, left knee and arms lift up. And now here's eagle pose, left arm underneath, left leg comes up and over. And if you'd like, you'll take that flying eagle variation, lifting your elbows high, and then bringing them down to your knees and squeezing. And some of you may get 16 of these in, some of you will get 1 in. We're not counting because
We're not into like competition. We're just having an interest in where you can connect. Move at that pace. But the next time you get to the bottom towards your elbows and knees, feel that squeeze. Squeeze your jaw in between your eyebrows. Feel what it's like when you're just kind of like that tense stress ball nightmare, in case you've ever had that experience. Good, now open it up and free it up, star pose. Whew, and then again, open your mouth, stick your tongue out, take a few breaths, and then send that out. Relieve that. Remind yourself you don't have to stay stuck in that wound, tense place. Good, low lunge to the front of your mat. Step into high plank. Pressing to downward facing dog. Woo! It's spicy this morning, yeah. Yeah, and from downward facing dog, walk your hands back to your feet, will you? Walk your hands back. Lifting up halfway and folding down. Good, Tadasana, mountain pose. And let's take Nacharanjasana, the dancer. So taking your left elbow to your left hip, bend your left leg, and always the option to reach back and actually make contact with your foot or your pants. That's more of our passive stretch. That active hamstring stretch is everything's the same, but we're reaching. Good, now instead of bringing your chest to the front of the circle, can you feel, you know what proprioception is, where you can like feel your foot without touching it? Feel the back of your heart, and start to take the back of your heart towards your heel, and your heel toward the back of your heart. So you can picture the muscles working to create that back bend, right? So your heart's lifting, your muscles are lifting up and over that back foot. Good, and then feet on your mat, hands on your heart. And sometimes that vulnerability of offering the heart up opens up the willingness. Sometimes not. Good, arms high. Right elbow to right hip. Right leg back, and take your iteration of the dancer's pose. Now, much more important than the shape or the energy is like, who are you being in this pose? Are you feeling grateful? Are you feeling mad? Like, just let whatever you're feeling come up and through. You don't have to hold on to it. You don't have to comment on it. Awesome. One more full breath in, and then feet on the mat, hands to heart center. Feel your feet, and give yourself permission to settle what wants to be settled. Good. And from here, Vritsasana tree pose, coming onto your right foot, you'll take your left leg somewhere on your right. Left foot, rather, somewhere on the right. And then take your left arm high, bend it to take your palm in the direction of the back of your heart, and you could take your right hand to your elbow, pressing and lifting. Willingness to have more fun, like letting your big fat heart lift up than being stressed about your pose. And then you could take that left arm and wrap it around your back and take your right hand to the wrist or the arm, and same thing again, heart up and back. Yep, use your neighbor if you're having trouble. Neighbors are good for that generally. Good, and then both feet on the grass or your mat and hands on your heart. And feel what's in the power of the pause for you here. And as you're ready, we'll take tree pose on the other side, coming to balance on your left foot. We're trying to balance, working with balance. Take your right foot high. And then first the right arm comes up, palm behind you. And you could take your hand to your elbow. But let your head press into both hands so your heart is getting invited and called up. It's so easy to get through the day and try to solve it and figure it out, but not as satisfying as what it feels like in your body. And either stay here or take that right arm around your back and bring your left hand to your wrist or forearm, inviting shoulders back, heart high.
and then step open into a squat. Bring your palms on top of your thighs, lift your chest, and drop your left shoulder in. Lift back up and drop your right shoulder in. Good, just a few of those side to side. Good, and stepping back onto your mat, you'll fold forward at the back of your mat. Fold down at the back of your mat. Lifting halfway and folding, walking to high plank, and then pressing to down dog. Okay, so we're gonna do something that's a little bit different. So we're gonna come to dolphin, but how I'd like you to do it is bring your palms wide together. Can you slowly drop onto both forearms and slowly press back up? We tend to do one and the other. Can you slowly press to downward facing dog? And then slowly both forearms come to the mat. And if you're a no thank you, you'll do something else. But a couple more times, slowly both forearms together, touching the mat. Awesome, Christina. And then slowly downward facing dog. Good, and then slowly, once you get to dolphin, one last time with your forearms on the mat, take your right leg up and knee to left tricep. I know it's not easy, you're almost there. Lift up, and then both feet down, and then just once, left leg lifts, knee to right tricep. Good, and then lift it back up. And then take Sphinx pose. Lower your whole dang body on the mat and pull your chest through. Yep, I know. It's like that, huh? Good, and then drop your chin. And then circle side to side, ear to shoulder. Good, and then bringing your chin back to the center of your mat, lower your forehead in between your thumbs, and gently interlace your fingers at your low back. So your whole body's on the mat, your forehead's on the mat, and your fingers are connected at your low back. Good. Without any pulling or forcing or aggression, can you invite everything that can to lift up? Good. Notice the back of your neck. Let it stay long. Yeah, if your bangs are in your face, blow them out of the way. Now reach through your toes. Reach through the back of your heart again. Good. Now stay here. Separate your hands and bend at the knees and draw your heels in. Same thing without aggression. Without grabbing and pulling, can you invite your heels to the back of your heart and the back of your heart to your heels? If you notice any forcing, see if you can get that out of your way. Good, lower everything down, left ear to the mat, left ear to the mat. The other left, yep. And slide your right knee out to the side, just kind of let your low back have a like, yeah, that's good. And listen again. And then bring your forehead to the mat, and your knees and feet back together, and just take your ear to the opposite side. Right ear down, left knee slides out. This feels good, yeah? Yeah. I might not get you up again, huh? The neighbors at 6:15 tonight will be like, why is that group just passed out on their mats? Good, gently bring both feet together, your forehead back to the mat. Let's press up onto your knees and take camel pose, Ustrasana. So there's sort of a general idea that your knees are about the distance of two fists. So we want them to be at least that wide. So this like a little wider. And then come to stand on your knees. Good, this first variation, interlace your fingers at the base of your head and neck and draw your elbows forward. Good, press your shins down. Take your heart up. And think about more up than back. You'll naturally start to go a little bit back, but let your heart be the highest thing, trying to lift up as your elbows come forward. These look beautiful. Awesome. Good, heart just a hair higher. Beautiful. And then sit back on your heels and let your arms relax down. So as we come into this final back bending sequence, the back bending originates from legs, and the back bend is actually about sending your heart higher. And so much of our life is this, and this, and this, and protection. We want to feel more of this. So you notice that I'm not throwing my neck back. I don't have to go so far back, but I want to feel that opening all across the chest. So camel again, come onto your knees. And let's take this time hands to your low back. And then notice that your elbows can kind of hang into space, but they can also draw your shoulders down and back, and your elbows could come a little more back. Now, same thing again. Press through your shins and take your heart up. Heart up. Good. You could open your mouth if you want to start feeling lion's breath coming through. Right? Keep clearing the space. Literally clearing the space. Clearing your internal space for willingness, for clarity to come up. Good. As you're ready, come back to stand on your knees and then sit your hips back to your mat, your block, your feet. And this time, both hands on your heart. So as we go into this next back bend, what's your intention for your practice? Revisit that. And then generously, willingly give it to yourself for this back bend. So come back to stand on your knees. Now, any camel variation, you can do one of the two we just did. You can do another variation, but let's take one more Ustrasana, the camel pose. You can even hook your thumbs and just feel your heart lift. Let your shoulders drop. There'll be space between your jaw and your collarbones. Good. And again, open your mouth. Let things go through you. No need to hold on or cling to what's over. There's just what's here right now. And when you feel complete, you'll sit back on your heels, hands on your heart or your lap, and let that land. We're going to take one final back bend of the practice. So if you'd like another camel, you haven't had enough, you can take camel. Otherwise, if you roll onto your back, I'm going to cue camel on our back, known as bridge pose. If you'd like wheel, you can take wheel. Really yogi choice, but I'm going to cue bridge pose. So rolling onto your back, bring your feet wide and walk your heels in towards your pelvis. Good. Now as you do that, press into your feet and send your pelvis up to the clouds. And let the pelvis, let's like imaginary hands come under your pelvis and just lift you up. Good, now take your arms up overhead and let them drop into the grass, and then feel the grass. Open your mouth and start to breathe. You could lift and lower your heels. You could keep your feet steady, but let there be an opening, a lifting, a powerful way you can feel your body here. And when you are complete, you'll lower your spine to the mat. Take your feet wide and let your knees fall in together. And if your arms are overhead, they might be more comfortable either out wide or by your sides. You can choose. Good, and with your feet wide and your knees together, drop both your knees to your left. Wide feet, knees together, both knees drop to the left. If you'd like a little more stretch in your hips, take your left ankle and bring it to the outer right thigh. Gently bring your feet to the edges of your mat. Let your knees fall in together and drop both your knees over to your right. Again, option to take the outer right ankle to the outer left thigh. What if you could say to yourself right here and now, I love you and I'm listening? Gently bring both knees into the center of your chest. And then let's take happy baby pose with your spine on your mat or the grass. Separate your feet and take your hands to the hamstrings, calves, ankles, feet. And let your head be heavy. And just create some freedom here, be it in stillness or movement. We get so tired of all the things we're doing, but as soon as there's an opportunity for us to be, we're like, I got stuff to do. It's kind of funny. Come back up to center, bring your hands behind you, just roll back and change legs. And then again, just notice this side, you may feel something different. You want to have a different hand position. Just find that place where there's some length and some stretch, where there's space for you to feel possibility. And then as you're ready, roll back up to center, bring your feet on the mat, and slowly roll all the way onto your back. And let's just take a supine twist this morning with your right leg long. Take your left knee in, give it a nice solid compression, and then take it across your body, rolling to your outer right hip. That left arm could go wide or anywhere it's comfortable. Stay as long as you'd like here, but when you're ready, you'll just change sides, bringing the knees to center, taking your left knee in, reaching right long, and then crossing to the other side. And then in the timing that's right for you, we'll take final Shavasana. So with the sun, you might find scooching down on your mat and kind of pulling the top of your mat over your eyes helps if you don't have a shirt or clothing to cover your eyes. But it's probably a nice morning to have your face a little more covered so you can relax freely. And then notice here too in the grass with all this distance, what about more of like a starfish shape in Shavasana? Like can you open up a little more? Because you're not inside, you're not in a crowd, there's room to open up your armpits and your groin and just let yourself go. Maybe that entire hour was just to generate the willingness to do nothing in this space but allow and be. There's nowhere for you to go, there's nothing to solve. What if your mind and your body just wanted you to witness without any commentary or meaning, so everything could be just as it is?
supposed to be? What if each thing we perceive as obstacles in the path were the actual path? And if we slowly shift into our most intentional time of mindfulness, you may feel that right where your shape and body are is perfect. If you'd rather come up to your seat for your meditation, find your way there. And this morning, instead of trying to meditate or trying to get willing or trying anything, could you just allow yourself to drop in and listen and see if any part of you is willing, ready to allow it without needing to force it or corral it or make it happen. And when being quiet in your own space starts to feel a little bit unnerving, just envision you could put your arm around yourself and just remind yourself like you've got this, you're showing up. See if that arm around you helps your nervous system settle, helps your mind settle. And if you'd like to close your practice from your seat, slowly make your way there. And whether you're on your back or in your seat, bring both hands on top of your heart where you started your practice, where we always start and end from ourselves. And this morning, before we close our time together, I just want you to consider one thing. Like, if you could get up and leave this class and begin again, what would you go clean up? Who would you apologize to? Who would you reach out to? Who would you have a hard conversation with? Where could you generate some willingness to be at cause to move one thing that's important to you forward in your life? Feel that and just ask yourself to summon up the courage to commit to that for your day. If you do nothing else today, can you do that one thing? With your hands on your heart, bring yourself to stand. And ending as we began with the sound of Om 3 times, let it reverberate through the park and the neighborhood so that the merits of the practice may benefit others. Take a steady breath in. Feel your heartbeat under your hands. Let it be the most courageous organ you feel throughout your day. Place both hands on your throat. Give yourself permission and freedom to find possibility in speaking your truth today. Bring your palms together in front of your third eye center at your forehead. On this day, we honor new beginnings, the summer solstice, and the power of practicing in person at the park. Together we bow to one another. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, guys. So fun.